Welcome back, Film Force fans. Get excited as we look back at all 18 MCU films in the countdown to Avengers Infinity War.
Who are you supposed to be?
Captain America.
I knew of Captain America. Of course I did. Everyone knew of Captain America.
This, I think, is one of the MCU's most underrated films and underappreciated films, as well as it is the origin film to what's now my favorite superhero of all time.
Okay, Captain America. Much like every other hero in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that's not named Spider-Man, I knew very little about this character, but felt like I still needed to see Captain America the First Avenger, as it was the last movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe's first phase before the release of the Avengers, and I am happy I saw it.
When it came out, I was at a different fandom in my life with it. It just didn't have the kind of action and energy that I was expecting.
One of the few MCU movies I hate rewatching is Captain America, the First Avenger. And a lot of people don't agree on me with my opinion on the First Avenger. The First Avenger is one of the worst MCU movies that have come out to this day.
But that first impression has changed because I see it now, what they were laying out in that character, showing us why he was perfect to have that serum, and it has some great character moments that I really enjoy. Just in particular, his mourning over Bucky's loss, and Cap can't get drunk because of that serum. It's incredible.
And then Captain America First Avenger comes out, and it's set in World War II, and you're introduced to this guy who's skinny. That CGI on a skinny Steve Rogers was amazing. But instantly I started thinking, wow, Fantastic Four is a bit different.
It's one of Marvel's most solid superhero introduction films to their lead superhero character.
I don't know if my first impression is the right impression because I've developed as I've gotten older, and I love this movie now. So what I like...
My initial impression of the movie back in 2011 was, that was good, and that was about it. But these days, I enjoy it a whole lot more. Sure, the premise is a tad simple, but I think that actually works to the movie's advantage. The heroes are obvious, the villains are obvious, but what matters really is the heart of the story, and that was Captain America's biggest quality, its heart.
And then you understand this character by him being skinny, but he's wanting to be a patriot. He wants to fight for his country. Just because of how he is, he doesn't feel it's right that he's not allowed to, and he doesn't have the chance to, which really got you rooting for this character. And then you have him get injected in that serum. That good of heartness is amplified by the serum.
Chris Evans in this movie just plays Captain America / Steve Rogers as such a likable character, as such a likable person, and such a real person.
Man, Chris Evans, he really surprised me. I only really knew him from a couple of other movies, such as the Fantastic Four films, where he played the cocky Human Torch, but in this movie, he really made every second of his screen time as the world's biggest Boy Scout believable. I actually really bought every single line he said, such as,
I can do this all day.
I loved loads of parts about this film. Again, I think this is such an underrated film, but it's still not the best Captain America. It's a good start and a good origin film. You've got some great shots that are reminiscent of a comic, like him punching the shit. And then you've got that montage scene going from high to
Yeah, I like Bucky. And their performance, their chemistry together is what makes this movie and leads to the rest of the MCU kind of chemistry, because they have that whole ongoing story with Bucky. And this movie introduced their chemistry, so I really like that about the movie.
You have the love story of Captain America, or Steve Rogers, and Peggy Carter, aka Hayley Atwell, who does a brilliant job, and this is one of the best love stories in the MCU. You can see the chemistry.
I just really found her to be a fun, adventurous, spunky kind of character to follow, as we also follow. But she was a great asset to his story, and yeah, she was a romantic lead.
Peggy Carter is great. The actress who played Peggy Carter to me is the standout of the movie. I thought she was fantastic. Tommy Lee Jones is good.
I also liked how this movie had fun with its formula. Rather than Captain America getting his superpowers and then getting a costume and then going out to fight the Red Skull, he instead has to wear his costume for a lot of hilarious propaganda pieces. And the costume and the musical numbers that accompanied it were just some of the best comedy we've gotten out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But when Cap has to prove himself, he does so in epic fashion. And I loved it when Bucky says, "Hey, let's hear it for Captain America." Sure, he was probably just mocking Steve a little bit because Captain America is a silly name, but it put a big smile on my face.
There's so many missed opportunities in this movie alone. You could have introduced. This is the way you should have introduced Wolverine into the MCU without introducing Wolverine into the MCU. You could have had him as one of the people he fought with. Human Torch missed opportunity here. They had the rights to Human Torch. Use the android Human Torch in this movie for more than just a cameo. They killed off Captain America at the end of the movie. There's so many stories you could have told. You didn't have to freeze them at the end of this movie. There's so many stories you could have told in here, and there's not enough action in this movie. If you ask me, there's like a beginning of this movie. There's an ending to this movie. But there's no middle. There should be all this action in the middle to kind of connect together the two pieces. And that's my biggest complaint. And everybody I talk to agree with me that there's not enough action in this movie. There's not enough Captain America inside the war.
I dislike the fact that it was only a montage mainly of the World War II fight scenes. I wanted to see more. In the trailers it showed you'd be seeing more. Maybe the ending was a bit hacked on, but they needed that to set up the Avengers. And then Bucky dying, as much as they need to set up Winter Soldier, the way he died and you weren't fully introduced to this character was sort of a bit disappointing as well.
Something I disliked about the movie, the Howling Commandos really just were there. You knew a little bit of Bucky, but you didn't know nothing about the other Howling Commandos. They just seemed kind of pointless, which if the movie could have been focused a little bit differently, you could have given them a little bit more shine.
And the pacing isn't the greatest. It could have been improved upon. It's not terrible, but it just seems like you're watching this cool character that you really, really like and you really find likable, surrounded in a story that's just fine.
And I do not like watching this movie at all. The acting roles that stood out was Tommy Lee Jones as the military dude. I really liked Red Skull. He did his purpose. I wish they had shown him more through the MCU, but that's just my opinion. They do what they want. He makes this villain role iconic, and I love it.
Red Skull, I mean, like, he's not the Marvel's worst villain ever. He still isn't very stellar. He doesn't stick out. There is no really big tension in that moment between the two when he finally confronts Red Skull after Bucky is gone from the cause of one of Red Skull's men.
And you also have a great villain, Hugo Weaving as the Red Skull, and I so want him to come back, but I can understand with all that makeup, it's a bit tough.
The actress who played Peggy Carter, I'm blanking on her name, but she is the standout of the movie. I love her performance in this. Chris Evans is Captain America, but Peggy Carter will always stand out to me in this movie.
You get a rasta? Because I got a few moves I know you'll like. Agent Carter!
But, come on, you've got to give it to Hayley Atwell as Peggy Carter. Okay? This was a strong woman in a time when women were looked down upon. Okay? When women were second-class citizens in a way. I'm sorry, it's true. Okay? Men were forefront. But she's this soldier, she's this agent who instantly gains respect from the men because of how she acts. She doesn't take no nonsense from anyone. And then you have Steve Rogers fall in love with her for those reasons. And then you have the tragedy at the end where they can't get to go to their dance.
So I never thought we would get Cap done so well, that felt so nice, that they blended that line to where it wasn't campy. It worked in the period piece aspect of it. Being in a World War II setting was great. And one little thing they did that was good was they recreated that famous image of him punching Hitler in a very fun, creative way that just really worked. On a 1 to 10 scale, I would say it is a solid 8 for me. I like it a lot.
Hey, let's hear it for Captain America!
So for that reason, I'm going to give this the same rating as for 7.5. This is a great start to what I'd say is one of the best superhero trilogies of all time.
This movie, I feel like it's a great Marvel movie. It's a very, very underrated, very, very solid, 100% solid Marvel movie in the MCU. But I think as a movie on its own, it's just average. If I had to give this movie a score, my own personal score, it'd definitely be a 10 out of 10.
Hopefully, if something, if anything bad should happen to Captain America, he gets to have that dance with Peggy in the afterlife. And overall, I'd say that despite my those brief criticisms I had, they did not ruin the movie for me. It was still an entertaining action movie with a heart, and I'm going to give it 8 vibranium shields out of a possible 10.
I like that. All in all, I'd probably rate this a 6.5. I mean, this is probably my least ranked MCU movie. And, yeah, I don't enjoy it that well, so that's just my opinion on it.
Thank you for watching this episode of the MCU fan countdown to Avengers Infinity War. Make sure you check out everyone's links in the description below, and like and comment and share this video, and check out the video tomorrow. Until next time, bye.